So you just hit okay,
and now
you're
it's
an extra
you
whatever.
hit go live
Okay.
where it said go. So, and now we are live streaming. You see how my video is flipped from what the room actually is.
Mhm.
All right. So remember when you are running the camera that if you're using this as your point of reference and not the actual camera in the actual room, when you go to move the camera, that you need to do it in reverse, right? Like I'm not going to go that. You see?
Yeah.
You see how it's in reverse? All right, and so that's one of the things we want to make sure of. And then we have settings, and I don't know if they're right anymore. So let's check it. So it has snap settings. What you want to do for a snap setting is you go black first. So you blacked out your camera, and then you hit 1, and it snaps to position 1. And then you unblack, and there you go. And we'll have to key that in a little better. One of the things with this camera is it has a difficult time focusing for some reason. And so you're not going to want to zoom all the way. Forgot that's not zoom. Sorry, actually.
So the black, you just hit the red.
Black is the red button on
Okay.
top. It blacks out the screen.
So what's zooming? What's like turning the camera?
Exactly. So the wheel here gives you your direction. It is not a wheel, as in a spin wheel, right?
On an iPhone.
Yeah, it's not a wheel, as in a spin, but it gives you your directions, and so you can move it in those directions.
So it can be diagonal.
Yes, you can move diagonal.
Yeah.
What I would recommend is never to use that function that way. You go ahead and black it out, use your snap features, and then come back into what you want to see. You want to make sure that you have your screen in view. Okay. Because when he shows slides or you have the presentation for worship slides, you want to make sure those are able to be seen. So
is there like a snap for the
worship
band? Yeah.
Yes, it's 2 if it's set correctly still.
Yeah.
And then it's close. So we get in, and then the other thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to pull this monitor a bit forward. So when you have things, we also need to level that screen, and I'll take care of that. So when you have, like, the band isn't your focus, right? It gives them something to look at visually, but the real focus of this screen is that monitor, right? Because it'll have your words on it.
Yeah, you want to help people worship.
Exactly. So that's the real focus of this entire screen, not the actual people, right? Like when you listen to the radio and you worship to songs on the radio, or you just jam to songs on the radio, you don't have people to look at, right? So think of this in the same way. You might have to tweak some things. So if now my band is in and I have it the way I want to, right? And I know that the bandstand is always 2. I hold 2 for 10 seconds. And now 2 is locked in at that position. Okay. No.
What do you mean?
It locks in the memory of 2 into the function. All right. And so
like your radio in the car.
Exactly. And so you want to make sure, the reason that we always black out before we move our camera, we snap it. I'm going to do it without.
Oh.
You don't want to make people dizzy. And like people with motion issues, older people with inner ear problems, people with what is that?
Disorders.
Epilepsy.
Epilepsy, not so much. But there's vertigo. That's the word I was looking for.
Mhm.
People with vertigo, you will lose them immediately. Or people who are snobby about things like that, you will lose them. Like, I will turn it off. Just gonna tell you. So you always black out and then go to where you want to go. And you can check, right, that it's gone to the right place by actually looking at the camera before you go out of blackout. Now, if you watch, we're gonna black it out and we're gonna snap the camera a couple of times. You see it moves the tripod sometimes. Like, you see how it shook everything? So you want to make sure it settles before you unblack it. All right. So, and it has an issue with that I need to dig into the settings of the camera on because it doesn't focus as sharply as I think it should, and that I've seen it do in the past. If you zoom in too much, it will totally not focus correctly.
Do you think it thinks it doesn't have enough light on the band?
No, it's an auto function of focusing that I need to cut off. I need to just shut that off in the camera. It's trying to autofocus, but it doesn't know what to focus on, right?
Yeah.
Like, you have things in the foreground, things in the background, and it's trying to focus, but it doesn't know what to focus on, so it's going to do this whole blur thing. So you don't want that. So keep it on the large group for now. You can get a little tighter than that, but again, make sure that you have your screen. I also like to have the screen, which will move forward, and the entire worship hymn. Like, just because it bugs me to have like half of words right on a screen. And again,
What is that center button?
center button. It's the home button. Okay, so it will return it to whatever its home positioning is. Yes. So here, and then we go home, and it goes exactly to home. So that's all the way zoomed out. Okay, that's the base functionality and center. Correct. So that's what we get if we use our home. Okay. So you have home, you have one. Okay. And then you have two. Okay. Any questions? Comments, concerns?
I think it's pretty exciting.
Okay, we are not going to use this today, I don't think. All right, so I need to go and get our password, and you guys are mostly up to speed. Tear down. All right, so we end our stream, right? Personally, whatever happens at the end of service, we've gotten to that point. We're ready to end. Before we go there, I don't want to go there yet. You see this indicator down here?
Yeah.
That's our input of audio. Okay, that's the audio level that's being inputted into the computer as well as the live stream. Okay, and so that will jump to indicate where we are. Don't let it jump past the 4. Okay, so if once we plug in everything, if it is jumping past 4, that's a little too much audio input.
It'll distort.
It won't start to distort at 4, but it's a little too loud.
Oh, that's weird.
For pure feed. And so we'll have a pure feed coming into this. It'll be a little too loud. All right, so everybody good? All right. Now, the other thing is that you'll have some interaction here where you can actually make comments and chat. I don't believe that you guys will be using that in the test that I ran a couple of weeks ago. we had some video footage, and that we had some issues with, right? And so one of the issues that we were having is that I figured out that whole autofocus thing. And so it was doing that fuzzy thing. And so I just typed in, we're having a few video issues that we're working on. The screen will go black, but you will still have audio, right? And then I blacked the screen. I zoomed it all the way out, and I started over, right? With getting it centered on the band after I zoomed it all the way out. Or I assumed I zoomed it all the way out.
Yeah.
Because it was black, so I couldn't see it. And so I just held the button and like counted to 20. And then I unblocked it. And so there'll be some things that we're figuring out the process, right?
Yeah.
And so there's that. People might chat, might ask questions. I would say at this point, just don't interact. Ignore the chat. And ignore the chat until you get to a place of what the church wants to say, right? And that's been kind of approved because you are interacting as the church when you chat in there, right? Like, so people are going to tie whatever happens on your live stream into being official. And so I would say stay away from the chat for now.
Yeah.
Okay. There might be some questions that come across the chat about the organization and things like that. Stay away from it.
But maybe let Jim or Teresa know.
No, these are some questions that we got because the live chat, sometimes, depending on how it's set up, will stay active after the stream is over. And so you can go back and see what the users asked and then answer those questions. Any questions?
Nope.
All right. So you get here in the morning. What do you do? First thing.
Get out the camera.
Okay. And then
Plug it in and
Put it on the
right on the stand. Yeah.
put it on a tripod, plug it in. All right. Walk me through it like I don't know anything about it. So how do I plug it in? What am I plugging into what?
Take this box and plug it into the port there.
Okay.
You take this cord and plug it into that.
All right. Perfect.
And then plug in the audio cable.
Okay. Perfect. You won't ever have to worry about that again, but perfect. Camera. Plugged in. Perfect. You won't ever have to do that because you'll just have to plug in that one in a week. Fingers crossed. All right. What do I do on my laptop once it's powered up?
Open up the Great Plains Church Chrome extension thing.
Yes. You open up your Great Plains Church extension. Perfect. We're going to have to change that molding. All right. So you'll have a icon. The desktop on there is much cleaner than this one. This is my personal working laptop, so I keep it how I want it.
Star Trek Online.
Yes, I am a beta test member.
Ooh.
So, how old are you?
14.
Yeah, I've been playing longer than you've been alive. I like doing that to people. Don't worry about it. It's a thing.
I played. Yeah.
What do you play?
I played my first years and shit.
All right. You'll have that icon and you click on it. All right. There, on that computer, there'll be like 3, maybe 4 icons on your desktop because we keep it a whole lot cleaner than I keep this. So you open it and you go to your YouTube, which is there. All right. Once we get into YouTube, I am going to end this stream now.